Pittsburgh isn't just a city you visit. It's one you feel. The rhythm here moves like the rivers do. Slow in the bends, fast under the bridges, but always steady. It's the sound of steel workers' boots hitting pavement, the hiss of a fryer at a corner diner, and the way people still hold the door open for you, even when your hands are free. This place has a language, a taste, and a temperament all of its own, equal parts stubborn and sincere. You can hear it in the yins, taste it in the turners, and see it glowing gold across the bridges at dusk. For almost 3 centuries, Pittsburgh has been melting iron, cultures, and stories together until they shine the same color as the skyline at sunset. From mill smoke to medicine, from sandwiches stacked with fries to hospitals stacked with miracles, the city has rebuilt itself again and again, and it never stops standing back up. Today, I want to take you through all of it. The slang, the sandwiches, the grit, the glory, and everything in between. I'm Jess Faulkner, and this is Just Jess. Steel, soul, and sandwiches. A Pittsburgh story. If you're new here, hi, welcome. Just Jess is a podcast about life, parenthood, chronic illness, and finding meaning in the middle of the mess. It's where we talk about the hard stuff honestly, the funny stuff loudly, and the ordinary stuff with a little more love. Normally, this is the part where I give a listener warning, but not today. After the emotional roller coaster that was October, we're keeping it light. No triggers, no tears, just stories, sandwiches, and the soul of Pittsburgh. So grab your Turner's tea, pull up a chair, and let's talk about this city that somehow feels like an old friend I'm still getting to know. All right, I want to give a quick little life update before we dive into the deep stuff. I had my Sprint PNS system implanted, and honestly, I'm loving it. It's like a TENS unit in my leg. The pain relief has been real, and here's the kicker. I did the procedure without anesthesia or pain medication. I know, it sounds insane, but using anesthesia would have slowed my healing time. And I'm at the point in life where I'll take pain over more waiting. Plus, that medicine doesn't work, you know? My pain management doctor, Dr. Trent Emmerich, oh my gosh, he was incredible through the whole thing. Calm, confident, kind, and communicated. And there was this moment in the operating room when it was just all women. I had to say something. The energy shifted, quiet strength, steady hands, and this feeling like, we've got you. It was so cool. And of course, I had to give a shout out to Girl Power. I'm still on a lot of meds. Too many bottles to count some days. But my main one right now is the anagrelide, the Eliquis, and the baby aspirin. The anagrelide, it's doing its job. It's not perfect, but then again, neither am I. Let me adjust this real quick. I'm not doing acupuncture anymore because I currently do not have the funding. So no more Wednesday needle sessions for now, but I'm okay with that. The PNS, the Sprint PNS system is doing the heavy lifting for my pain anyways, shocking my body every time I feel anything. Honestly, I've been working on some music, like a lot of music. I also got a part-time job at a dispensary so I can feel more useful. You'll probably notice that the music to these podcasts from now on is all actually my music. So don't listen too hard. So, okay. Food-wise, let's just say I've eaten more pizza in the past 3 months than I did in a whole year in Virginia or South Carolina. The pizza here is next level. It's chewy, it's cheesy, it's greasy perfection. The kids have already discovered Eaton Park, though I still haven't eaten there myself yet. I don't know, maybe next weekend. We shall see. It's been a weird balance. Hustling, healing, adjusting, but I'm getting there. And I think Pittsburgh has something to do with that. Let's start close to home with the Glassport Diner. I actually worked there for a day. Yep, Chef Jess in a Pittsburgh diner kitchen. And let me tell you something. That one day working in that kitchen taught me more about the city than probably most people learn in a year. There's a rhythm to a small town diner. The sizzle of bacon, the ring of the bell, the way regulars don't need a menu because their coffee and their usual orders are already waiting on them before they even sit down. The Glassport Diner has that rhythm down to a science. Thursdays are their $5 burger days, and it's their biggest days. I mean, who doesn't love a $5 special? It sounds simple, but you have to understand. This isn't a frozen patty burger kind of joint. It's fresh, hot, and cooked with the same care you put into feeding your family. And it's served on Mancini's bread, because of course it is. Around here, Mancini's is the only way to do it right. Truly. The first time I worked the line, I could feel that mix of pressure and pride that every good kitchen has. Orders flying, the grill popping, the smell of butter and toast and beef in the air. There's something holy about that chaos and something honest too. I ate there yesterday morning actually. I sat by the window with a mug of coffee, an orange juice, watching the regulars come and go. I was pretty famished after surgery and sleeping the entire day. So I ordered just about everything I could on their breakfast menu to include biscuits and gravy, Mancini's whole wheat toast, eggs, skillet potatoes. Yes, the ones with onions and peppers. Though I believe they call them home fries here. So good. And I got Josh a waffle. I ate the best I could for somebody with an enlarged spleen that's pushing on their stomach. There's this unspoken rule. No one leaves without saying, "Have a good one." And nobody eats in silence. There's always laughter, always stories, always a sense that everyone in the building has worked hard for every comfort they've got. That day was no different. As I sat there sampling my feast, every single customer talked to each other, and every person working there was in on the conversation. Big hearty laughs, intimate conversations about their children and grandkids. I was even included when a man who walked past, who'd spoken to the kids before, to Josh and I and the kids before, and I was just sitting there with my head hung in my hands, exhausted. And he walked by and he said, 8 hours is good for that. And that's the thing about Glassport. It's not glamorous. It's real. The food is cooked by people who care, served by people who hustle, and eaten by people who appreciate both. Shout out to Glad's Deli, by the way. your pickle witch. Okay. That's Pittsburgh in a nutshell, though. No frills, all heart, and maybe a little extra butter on the griddle. Now, if you've never been here before, the first thing you'll notice isn't the skyline or the rivers. It's the way people talk. The Pittsburgh dialect, or Pittsburghese as locals lovingly call it, is one of the most distinct regional accents in America. Linguistics actually study it because it's that unique. It's a mix of Appalachian English, Scots-Irish cadence, and Old World immigrant influence from Italy, Poland, Germany, and Slovakia. When all those workers and families came to the Still Valley in the late 1800s and early 1900s, their languages collided. What came out was this thick, charming, working-class shorthand that stuck. Take yins, for example. It's Pittsburgh's version of you all or y'all, a holdover from Scots-Irish settlers who used you ones or yuns. That slowly evolved into yins. Downtown means downtown. Said fast, no soft vowels, just a straight shot from D to N. And yes, it's ketchup here. Heinz ketchup. Heinz everything. Anything else is basically blasphemy. One of my favorite things about Pittsburghese is how unapologetically efficient it is. You don't waste syllables here. The city is too busy for that. Everything is clipped, quick, and clear. When someone says, forgive me, Yin's going downtown for the Steelers game, you know exactly what they mean, even if you're new. That was so bad. I'm so sorry. The accent itself has this flat, nasal music to it. It's warm but firm, like someone who'll hug you and then tell you to toughen up in the same breath. I'm sorry. I'm in a great mood today. Linguistics trace it back to the industrial boom, when workers in the mills, factories, and foundries had to shout over machinery. They started dropping soft consonants and shortening vowels. Clarity over comfort. It wasn't just an accent. It was actually survival. Sometimes a life or death. Over time, Pittsburghese became a badge of pride. Even now, people who leave the city carry the sound with them. A little vowel shift here, a sharp nat there. It's a way of saying, I remember where I came from. Josh actually voted, and he got a sticker that says, I voted and nat. You'll see it printed on t-shirts, mugs, keychains. It's everywhere. There's even a Pittsburghese dictionary full of words that sound like home to anyone who grew up here. Foreign if you have not. My favorite part of all of it, though, is that Pittsburghers don't fake this language. They don't exaggerate it for outsiders. It's really just who they are. Hardworking, unfiltered, funny, and proud. I love it. So, yeah. I might still sound like a transplant when I say tan, but give me a few more years. I'll get there. It won't be as bad as it is now, I promise. Oh my gosh. You guys forgive me. Pittsburgh doesn't just have a food scene. It has a food identity. Every bite here feels like it's been earned. These aren't delicate little dishes. This is fuel for people who build bridges, raise families, fix furnaces, and shovel snow like it's a sport. These meals here are built the same way the city was. layered, practical, a little messy, and absolutely full of heart. Oh my gosh. Let's start. Let's start with the sandwich that made the city famous. Primanti Bros. Primanti Bros. I'm trying, you guys. The story begins in 1933, right in the heart of Pittsburgh's Strip District. The Great Depression was in full swing, and truck drivers hauling produce in and out of the city needed something quick, hot, and portable to eat between loads. Joe Primanti ran a little sandwich shop cart on 18th Street, serving thick Italian bread stuffed with grilled meat, cheese, tomato, and then one night, French fries. Bear with me here. The legend goes on that a trucker came by with a load of potatoes starting to freeze in the winter air. Joe tossed some of those on the grill to keep them from going bad, dropped them on the sandwich, and suddenly the Pittsburgh sandwich was born. The rest is history. The fries and vinegar-based coleslaw weren't just for flavor, they were efficiency. You could eat an entire meal with one hand and get back to work. You guys, this is making my mouth water so hard. By the time Primanti's moved into a brick and mortar spot on 18th and Smallman, it was already a citywide favorite. Oh, today they've been around for over 90 years, and they still stack the sandwiches exactly the same way. Meat, cheese, tomato, fries, slaw, bread, napkin. No substitutes. No nonsense. Oh, speaking of fries, Pittsburgh didn't stop with sandwiches. Somewhere in the 1960s, local restaurants started putting fries on top of salads. It sounds ridiculous if you didn't grow up here, but when you think about it, it makes perfect sense, right? This was a steel town full of people who worked hard all day long. Salads felt like a punishment unless you added something hearty. So someone tossed a handful of fries on top, and history was made. No one's quite sure which restaurant did it first, but it spread fast. Diners, bars, sports grills, all claiming they made the original Pittsburgh salad. Iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, shredded cheese, grilled chicken, ranch dressing, and that's right, French fries. It's basically the Primanti's sandwich's lighter cousin. Same energy, slightly more lettuce. Oh my gosh. And then there's Turner's Premium Iced Tea. That iconic orange and white carton that's basically Pittsburgh's unofficial mascot. I'll add a picture if you haven't seen it. But it all started in 1930 when Charles G. Turner founded Turner Dairy Farms in Penn Hills. He started small, 4 cows, 1 truck, 1 dream, and grew it into a regional powerhouse. It is crazy. In the early 1970s, the company launched its first batch of iced tea made from cold brewed black tea, cane sugar, and that perfect lemon balance. It was originally just meant to be a refreshing drink for the Turner's delivery drivers, but locals also fell in love with it almost immediately. Today, Turner's tea is sold in nearly every convenience store, vending machine, and gas station in Western Pennsylvania. I mean, some people drink it with breakfast instead of having coffee. You can go to a bar and find Turner's tea. There's even a cult following. People collect old cartons and post their favorite flavors online. Personally, I love the chocolate banana milk. Okay. Not tea, I know. It's not just a beverage, though. It's nostalgia in a carton. But you can't talk about food in Pittsburgh without talking about Mancini's. Mancini's bread, more specifically. Okay. Founded in 1926 by Italian immigrant James Jim Mancini in McKees Rocks. Mancini's bread began as a tiny neighborhood bakery with a wood-fired oven and a single delivery truck. The bakery quickly became known for its twist bread, a golden loaf with a crisp crust and pillowy interior. I literally have one sitting on my counter in my kitchen. For almost a century, Mancini's has been a staple across the region in diners, delis, and restaurants. When you bite into a burger or sandwich in Pittsburgh and it tastes perfect, odds are it's sitting on Mancini's bread. The bakery, which is still family run, still local, and still sits right near Woolley's Fish Market on the Strip. There's something poetic about that. Fish from the city river, bread from the same oven for nearly 100 years, feeding generations of Pittsburghers. One of the reasons Pittsburgh's food hits so hard, it's because it was built by the people who built the city, the immigrants. I love that. Between the 1880s and 1920s, thousands of families from Poland, Slovakia, Ukraine, Hungary, and Lithuania settled in western Pennsylvania to work in the coal mines and the steel mills. They brought with them a tradition of hearty, comforting, but affordable food. Enter the pierogi, a little dumpling stuffed with mashed potatoes, cheese, or sauerkraut. Cheap to make, easy to reheat, and the perfect meal after a 12-hour shift. Pittsburgh embraced them completely. Pierogies. Today, pierogies aren't just a food here. It's a cultural symbol. You can order them in bars, you can find them at church festivals, and even see them racing around the field during Pirates games as mascots. It's hilarious and amazing. The same goes for galumpki or stuffed cabbage rolls. So good. Slow cooked in tomato sauce, filled with rice and beef, a warm hug in food form. In Pittsburgh, you can find galumpki as bar food. Like, imagine sitting in a dive bar, having a beer, and ordering stuffed cabbage. That's Pittsburgh. Primanti Bros even sells a pizza by the slice, and honestly, it's really good. It's huge. A big slice, great sauce, always consistent. This is a hard one. And then there's Bottoms Up Bar and Grill, which is right down the street. You really wouldn't expect a neighborhood bar to have life-changing pizza, but that's Pittsburgh. The best food often comes from the places that don't brag about it. Oh my gosh. Their buffalo chicken pizza, I swear, it's fucking spiritual. The pizza here is different. Every place does it their own way. Some crusts are chewy, some are crunchy, some are halfway to focaccia, but all of them are made with that same city DNA. Unfussy, filling, and unforgettable. Since moving here, I've also been on this buffalo chicken kick, and Pittsburgh's doing it right. Every slice has been spicy, creamy, messy perfection. It's comfort and chaos baked together, which honestly kind of describes me too. So, yeah, Pittsburgh eats like it lives, loudly, proudly, with both hands. It's the only place where you can grab a pierogi, a slice of pizza, a Turner's tea, and a sandwich stacked with fries and coleslaw, and somehow it all just makes sense. When most people think of Pittsburgh, they picture smokestacks, steel beams, and bridges. A gritty gray city carved out of the Rust Belt. But that's only part of the story. Pittsburgh didn't just build steel, it builds survivors. The city's heartbeat started pounding back in the 19th century when iron furnaces and glassworks lined the rivers. Immigrants from all over Europe, Poland, Italy, Ireland, Slovakia, Germany, came here chasing the same promise: steady work and a better life. They found it in the mills, where temperatures could hit 120 degrees, and a single misstep meant disaster. The work was brutal, loud, dangerous, but it paid the bills, and it built the bones of a nation. At its height in the 1940s, Pittsburgh produced more steel than almost anywhere on Earth. The glow from the furnaces were so bright that people called it the city of fire and smoke. But when the mills started closing in the 1970s and 80s, the smoke cleared. And what rose from it was something even stronger: reinvention. The same determination that built skyscrapers and bridges turned inwards. Pittsburgh didn't collapse. It pivoted. The city poured its strength into medicine, technology, and education. And that's where this next chapter begins. Today, the steel plants might be gone, but the city's backbone never left. You see it now in places like the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, UPMC. UPMC started as part of the University of Pittsburgh's medical school and grew into one of the largest healthcare systems in the country. Over 40 hospitals, 90,000 employees, and branches stretching across Pennsylvania and even overseas. In a lot of ways, UPMC is the new face of Pittsburgh's grit. Same work ethic, different uniform. Instead of molten steel, it's medicine. Instead of furnaces, it's operating rooms and research labs. One of the biggest reasons my family moved here was for the healthcare. Living with chronic illnesses means you learn fast who's really innovating and who's just surviving. And Pittsburgh, it's thriving. The level of care, the specialists, the focus on long-term management. It's the kind of support system you dream about when you've been fighting for your body to cooperate for years. And last week, when I had my Sprint PNS system procedure, I felt that legacy of grit firsthand. For a minute, it was just me and this team of incredible women in the OR. Calm, steady, every movement sure. I thought about it. How 100 years ago, women were in the mills cleaning up after men got off shift. And now, women are leading surgeries. That's Pittsburgh. That's progress. And I love it. Walk around the city now, and you'll still see remnants of the old world. Rusted bridges, converted warehouses, soot-stained brick, but they're alive again. Lawrenceville is packed with coffee shops, art studios, and robotics companies. The Strip still hums with life, mixing old and new. Pierogi stands next to tech startups, fishmongers next to digital marketing firms. The skyline hasn't changed much, but the heartbeat underneath it sure has. Pittsburgh traded the roar of machinery for the hum of innovation. But that same pulse, that work ethic, still drives everything. The people here get up early, stay up late, and put their whole selves into whatever they do. It doesn't matter if it's healthcare, constructions, or flipping pancakes at a diner. There's just pride in the doing. That's the kind of spirit you can't fake. It's the kind that rebuilds cities. And maybe the kind that rebuilds people too. Because if Pittsburgh teaches you anything, it's that healing doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, patience, and a hell of a lot of grit. And somehow the city makes you believe that you've got both. If there's one thing I've learned since moving here, it's that Pittsburgh is a city that works for what it loves. The bridges, the people, the food. None of it came easy. Everything here was built by hand. One shift, one loaf, one heartbeat at a time. It's easy to romanticize the skyline. And believe me, I do. But the real magic is down here on the ground. It's in places like the Glassport Diner, where they call you hun and mean it. It's in history baked into a loaf of Mancini's. It's in the coleslaw and fries that somehow made sense on a sandwich in 1933 and still do now, almost 100 years later. And it's in the unexpected corners, like Bombay to Berg, the little Indian restaurant where my family goes almost every Sunday for their buffet. I am not exaggerating when I say it's life-changing. The food, the warmth, the energy, every bite reminds me of why community matters. That's what Pittsburgh does best. It connects people through effort. It makes you earn your comfort. But once you have it, it's yours for good. The city is living proof that you can fall apart and still come back stronger, shinier, and somehow even more yourself. And maybe that's why I fit in here, because Pittsburgh's been through it and it came out still standing. If you take anything away from today, let it be this. Wherever you live, get out and explore your city. Find the small places, the local coffee shops, the bakeries, the hole-in-the-wall diners that don't make it onto Google, but make it into your heart and soul. Find your version of La Gourmandine or Hazelwood Cafe, those little gems tucked into side streets that reminds you what community tastes like. Go, explore, because no matter where you are, there's a story like this waiting to be told. Pittsburgh just happens to be mine. I'm Jess Faulkner, and this has been Just Jess. Steel, soul, and sandwiches. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and remember, no matter how hard life gets, there's always good food and good people somewhere close by. Good one? What are you doing? Okay, I'm ready.